The trial of Richard Allen set to start here very soon. He, of course, is the individual accused of being the murderer, the Delphi murderer, in a case that if you were to write it for a screenplay, Hollywood would say that's insane. No, too much. Even for Lifetime, we're not going to do this. Well, guess what? There's one more twist, at least in this case, before it gets to the courtroom, and it involves one of the star witnesses for the defense and a former officer. Well, of course it does. Todd Click, arrested. We're going to talk about that, why he was arrested, what this means to the case. Joining me to discuss, Robin Drake, retired FBI special agent, chief of the Counterintelligence Behavioral Analysis Program. It looks bad. It looks weird. It looks suspicious in everything that's playing out here. But let's put some perspective here. Who is Todd Click? He was an officer. He was the only officer who still was sticking around with the I think there's Odinism involved here theory. He's one of the originals to bring this up as an investigator and say, there's something to this. Now, we all know that Judge Gull said, we're not talking about Odinism during this. It could confuse the jury. We don't want to confuse them with silly facts. Um, so that Odinism thing is out. But if Todd Click were to testify in this, which he was planning to do, there could be inklings of it that could come out to at least take us down that road, maybe a little bit. Wouldn't it be convenient if he was discredited right before the trial, maybe not allowed to testify, maybe just he's not worth it because he's lied before? He's been arrested and he's been charged with forging documents and falsifying information for his role in a DCS, Department of Children and Family Services family case manager case. We don't know all the details about what was actually forged or why they were forged, other than this is like some sort of a paperwork scandal. But I do find it a little ironic that right before he's arrested and charged with this.
I am not a conspiracy guy. I am never thinking there's conspiracy, but this case keeps pressing my buttons on it. Just, are you kidding me? This is oh, I saw this. I said, "Are you kidding me?" I mean, there are. I don't believe in coincidences because if you have a coincidence, that means there's red flags. If there's red flags, that means there's smoke. A lot of times in cases like this, where there's smoke, there's most likely fire. And the fact that we have another instance of a coincidence of someone that could help the fence be thrown out, it's beyond unbelievable. And also, the other thing that strikes me with this, just the charges here that they're saying, like you said, it's a what did you say? It's a paperwork
It's a
charge.
paperwork charge, as far as we. I mean, I'd love
Yeah,
to know more about what was going on. We don't have that information, but essentially, it's there was some dates falsified here, or
right.
something was falsified. I mean, it could be something serious. I don't know, but it just kind of seems like what can we get on Todd Click right now
Yeah.
before this thing starts?
That's what strikes me too, because now inside the FBI and inside every government organization, there are manuals, like inside the FBI, there's the DIOG, it's called. It's the operations guideline that we have. It's like this thick. There are so many rules and regulations inside of every single government organization, bureaucracy, law enforcement. I had a way that I live my life, and it is never be the person they want to get because there's enough rules and regulations. They can find something to get you on.
Mhm.
Just don't be the person that makes them feel unsafe that they want to get you.
Yeah.
And then you just do your job and do the righteous work. This to me looked like one of those cases is they're going to find something. There's enough rules we'll figure out something he broke a rule on so we can get him. That's
Mhm.
what it looked like to me. That was literally my first impression was, wow, they took out their manual and they dug deep to figure out what they could get on him. And I hate saying that because I'm not a conspiracy guy, but dang, doesn't it look like that?
It sure does. And I'm not saying that this couldn't be a legit charge. It may be.
Right.
Um,
And it probably is a
yeah.
legit charge. And that's what I'm saying here. All these wrongdoings, it's not that they're not legit charges. It's the fact that someone went way out of their way to get these charges
Mhm.
specifically for him right before the trial.
Yeah.
That's what stinks to me.
I mean, it really, it does. Click was one of those at the beginning. Was responsible for gathering evidence for the defense, and it investigated some possible alternative theories in this. And of course, we're talking about a case here that involves two children, two little girls. What better thing to pull him down on? and say, you don't
Yeah.
care about kids, than a DCS issue, a Department of Children and Family Services, that for some reason, somehow, we can go and say it to this in the trial if he says anything. Oh, you cared about that just like you didn't care about this DCS case with these children. Why would you suddenly care about these kids over here? I can already see it. Like that's kind of the angle that seems to be, taken if they're looking at this long term. It's just stunning to me that now they're trying to discredit this witness from the inside, and then go out on a case that really has nothing to do with Delphi, but something. And it seems
Right.
every route the defense of Richard Allen that they have taken, every valid route that they have taken and said, hey, we want to talk about this. We want to talk about these third party options because there's tons of them. There's tons of evidence that there's somebody else that could have done this. Where there's confessions and they won't let that in. There's just so many things that goes like, nope, we're on this road and this is what we're sticking to. And anything that contradicts that, if we have the legal power to stop you from saying that in court, we're going to do that, which doesn't lead to any sort of form of justice or attempt at finding the truth.
I know you have other contributors that are on the legal side because I honestly have no idea why they can't. They Gull's not allowing that in there. That there's an alternative theory. I don't understand
Because
it
Gull is
because
end all be all. That's the problem with the judges.
I don't. It just doesn't make any sense. If your defense team has come up with an alternate theory and it fits a personality, not but a criminal profile of, again, and I've said this from the beginning. You have 2 girls that were randomly, and I'll say randomly because he has 0 connection to these 2 girls.
Mhm.
There's not a family connection, there's not any kind of familiar connection, there's no connection, and which will fit a profile if he can be classified as potentially a serial killer
Mhm.
that randomly just, like, found someone, and these serial killers don't even do that. Say, when like, every time you say, "Well, maybe he was this," it falls apart. "Well, maybe he was this kind of murderer." No, it kind of falls apart. So, him as a subject in all the kinds of cases I'm thinking of, granted, I know I've limited bandwidth on it and experience, but I can't think of a reason why it would be him other than they were able to, and I'll say, coerce a confession from him by keeping him in solitary, from making him sit in his excrement. I mean, there's lots of things in there that made it really bad confessions to me.
Mhm.
And I just don't, it just doesn't understand when you have a subject, an accused that doesn't quite fit a modus operandi for the crime, why the judge wouldn't let other theories come in there. I just don't get it. But again, I'm not the legal guy.
I
This
know.
is Robin's own conjecture
Well,
on
I
it.
think every legal person we've ever had on here to talk about this is just stunned by the rulings of Gull.
Good.
Hey, thanks for checking out the video. Be sure to follow us wherever you download podcasts, and especially Apple Podcasts, where you can get advanced episode and premium content on our premium channel right there. Also, be sure to follow us on social media so you don't miss any breaking updates on the stories that matter to you most. We're on TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook. Just search Hidden Killers Podcast with Tony Bruschi, and you'll find us right there. Again, thanks for watching.